I don't even know where to start. I guess if I had to pick a moment, it would be the night I found the earring. It was a Tuesday. I remember that because Tuesdays were always our normal nights. Nothing special, just the two of us on the couch, maybe a glass of wine for her, a beer for me, some show playing in the background while we scrolled our phones in comfortable silence. But this Tuesday was different. I got home from work late. Some IT issue at the office kept me longer than usual. When I walked in, the house was quiet. Too quiet. Usually, I'd hear the low hum of the TV or the soft clatter of her moving around the kitchen. Instead, nothing. I called out her name. No answer. I checked my phone. No missed text. No, hey, I'm out with friend message. Weird. I shrugged it off, figuring maybe she ran out to grab something. But when I stepped into the living room, something caught my eye. On the armrest of our couch, glinting in the dim light, was a single earring, a small gold hoop. Simple. Elegant. Not hers. Now, at first, I told myself I was overthinking. Maybe it was an old earring she'd forgotten about. Maybe it belonged to a friend who had visited. But something about it didn't sit right with me. My wife wasn't the type to leave things lying around, especially jewelry. And she rarely had friends over when I wasn't home. I picked it up, turning it over in my fingers. There was something about holding it that made my stomach clench. A feeling I couldn't shake. That's when I noticed the faintest scent of perfume in the air. Not my wife's perfume. Different scent. Subtler. Floral. Definitely not hers. My heartbeat picked up. My mind started racing. I walked through the house, looking for anything else out of place. Nothing in the kitchen. Nothing in the bedroom. But then I saw it. A half-empty glass of wine on the dining table. Next to it, another glass. A beer. Not my beer. I drink craft. This was cheap. Some watery, generic brand. My breath hitched. My hands felt cold. I reached for my phone and texted her. Me? Hey, where are you? No response. I sat down, gripping the earring in one hand, staring at that second glass like it might start talking and explain itself. My brain went into overdrive, running through every possible explanation. Maybe she had a friend over. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe. The front door opened. I shot up from my seat as my wife walked in, her purse slung over one shoulder, hair slightly tousled, lips parted like she was about to speak, until she saw me standing there. Her eyes flicked from me to the earring in my hand, then to the glasses on the table. And in that moment, before she even said a word, I knew. But I wasn't ready for the rest of it. Because the earring, the perfume, the glass of beer, that was just the beginning. What came next was so much worse. She froze, just for a second. But I caught it. The way her eyes darted to the earring in my hand, then back to my face. The way she pressed her lips together like she was picking her next move carefully. Then, just like that, she smiled. Oh, you found it, she said, walking toward me. Found it. She reached for the earring, but I pulled my hand back. This isn't yours, I said. My voice came out steadier than I expected, but inside, I was spiraling. She tilted her head, giving me a confused little laugh. Of course it is. It must have fallen out the other day. It was a good lie. A practice lie. But there was one problem. My wife didn't wear earrings. Not small hoops, not studs, nothing. She had a metal allergy. Something about the nickel, she'd always said. I had literally never seen her wear a pair in the 7 years we'd been together. I stared at her, waiting for her to realize her mistake. Her expression didn't change. That was the moment something inside me cracked. You don't wear earrings, I said slowly. Silence. Her mouth opened, then closed again. And that's when I saw it. A flicker of something in her eyes. Not just guilt. Fear. I took a step back. Who was here? I asked. My voice was lower now, almost a whisper. She let out a breathy, nervous laugh. What? No one. Who was here? Her hands clenched at her sides. Then she shook her head. Baby, you're acting crazy. Crazy. That word. That damn word. The one people use when they want to make you doubt yourself. My pulse pounded in my ears. I looked at the two glasses on the table again. My beer was still in the fridge. So whose was this? I knew the answer, and I think she knew I knew. But still, she held her ground, doubling down on the lie. She stepped closer, reaching for my hand. You're being paranoid. It's just an earring. You probably don't even remember me wearing them. I yanked my hand away. Don't do that. Do what? Lie to me? Her face hardened. I'm not lying. I exhaled sharply, running a hand through my hair. My whole body felt tense, wired. I needed a second to think. I needed air. So I did the only thing I could think of. I grabbed my keys and walked out. She didn't try to stop me. Outside, the night air felt colder than usual. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel, my mind racing in a million directions. This wasn't how I expected to find out. If you had asked me a day ago, I would have told you my marriage was solid. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but nothing major. Nothing that would make me suspect this. But now, I couldn't ignore the signs, the late nights, the sudden interest in her appearance, the way she'd been different lately. I should have seen it sooner. I should have. My phone buzzed. Please don't do this. Come back inside so we can talk. I stare at the message, my thumb hovering over the screen. I could go back. I could let her explain. Maybe there was some insane, logical reason for all of this. Maybe I was overreacting. But deep down, I already knew the truth. And yet something about this still didn't add up. The earring, the beer, the perfume, sure, those things pointed to an affair. But the way she reacted, the fear in her eyes, it felt bigger than just cheating. It felt like she was hiding something worse, something I wasn't ready to uncover. Yet, I didn't go back inside that night. Instead, I drove. Nowhere in particular, just around town, past dimly lit streets and empty parking lots, trying to process what had just happened. She lied to my face. I caught her, and she still lied. That should have been enough. That should have been the end of the conversation. But something wasn't sitting right. Most people, when caught cheating, panic. They apologize, they cry, they make excuses. But my wife, she wasn't just lying, she was scared. Of what? I pulled into an empty gas station and leaned back in my seat, rubbing my temples. The pieces weren't fitting together. The earring, the beer, the perfume, it all pointed to someone being in our house. But then there was her reaction. The way she looked at me. The way she told me I was being paranoid, like she needed me to stop asking questions. I needed answers. I picked up my phone, staring at her text again. Please don't do this. Come back inside so we can talk. Yeah, sure. Like I believe a word she said. Instead, I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I went through our phone records. Now, before you judge me, I wasn't looking for text or anything. I just wanted to see if there were any patterns. A number that showed up too often, a call made late at night when I wasn't around. And within seconds, I found it. One number, repeated over and over. Sometimes twice a day. Sometimes 3 times. Always short calls. Always at odd hours. I copied it and ran a quick search. No name. No business. Just an area code from a town about 40 miles away. My stomach turned. I had 2 choices. I could ignore it, pretend I never saw it, go home and let her spin whatever story she wanted. Or I could call the number myself. So I did. The phone rang 3 times before a man's voice answered. Deep, groggy, like I had just woken him up. Yeah. I swallowed hard. My mouth felt dry. Who is this? Silence. Then, who the hell is this? The guy sounded annoyed now, but there was something else in his tone. Recognition. Like he knew exactly who I was. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. You've been calling my wife. A lot. More silence. Then something I wasn't expecting. A sharp exhale. Almost relieved. Oh, thank God, the guy muttered. I've been trying to reach you. My blood turned to ice. I checked the number again, making sure I hadn't dialed it wrong. What? I said. I was hoping you'd call, he continued. We need to talk, but not over the phone. My pulse pounded in my ears. Everything in me screamed to hang up, to block the number, to drive home and pretend none of this was happening. But I couldn't. Because somehow, some way, I knew. This wasn't just about my wife cheating. This was about something much, much worse. For a long moment, I just sat there, gripping the phone like it might explode in my hand. "We need to talk," the man said again. His voice was firm now, serious. My mouth was dry. Every part of me screamed that this was a bad idea, that I should just go home and demand the truth from my wife. But the way this guy spoke, he wasn't some affair partner caught in the act. He sounded like someone with answers, and I needed them. "Where?" I asked. There was a brief pause. Then he rattled off the name of a diner off the highway, about 20 minutes from where I was parked. "Meet me there in an hour. And come alone." Then he hung up. The drive to the diner felt like a dream. My headlights cut through the darkness, but I barely registered the road in front of me. My mind kept replaying everything. My wife's reaction, the earring, the perfume, the fear in her eyes. Who was this guy? And why the hell had he been trying to reach me? By the time I pulled into the nearly empty parking lot, my hands were shaking. I spotted him immediately, a man sitting in the back corner of the diner, a half-empty cup of coffee in front of him. Late 40s, maybe early 50s. Tired eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. I walked over. "You the guy?" He glanced up, nodded, then motioned for me to sit. I didn't talk. He sighed and ran a hand down his face. "Look, I don't even know how to say this, but your wife, she's not who you think she is." I clenched my jaw. "Yeah, I figured that out already." He shook his head. "No, not like that. I don't mean she's cheating. I mean, she's dangerous." I felt a cold chill crawl up my spine. "What the hell are you talking about?" The man hesitated, like he wasn't sure how much he should tell me. Then, finally, he leaned in. "My brother," he said quietly. "He went missing 6 months ago." I frowned. "What does that have to do with?" "He was last seen with her." Everything inside me went still. "What?" I whispered. "I hired a private investigator," the man continued. "They traced his last known movements to a bar downtown. Security cameras caught him leaving with a woman." His eyes met mine. "Your wife." My skin went ice cold. That was impossible. 6 months ago, my wife and I had been together. We had taken a trip to visit her parents. I remembered it clearly. This had to be some kind of mistake. "You're wrong," I said. "She was with me." The man didn't blink. "Are you sure?" A lump formed in my throat. Yes, but was I? I thought back to that time, our trip, the photos we had taken, the weekend we had spent at her parents' house. But then something nagged at me. Had she ever actually been there the whole time? Or had I just assumed she was? Had she gone out, run errands, disappeared for a few hours? I couldn't remember. The man leaned forward. "I don't know what she's told you, but I know she was with him that night. And now he's gone." My pulse pounded in my ears. This wasn't real. This was crazy. I needed proof. "You have the footage?" I asked. He nodded, pulling out his phone. A few taps, then he turned the screen toward me. And there she was, my wife, clear as day, smiling, laughing, leading some guy out of a bar by the hand. My stomach dropped. "No," I whispered. This could be anyone. It could be someone who looks like her. But I knew I was lying to myself. It was her. And she looked happy, excited, like she wanted to go wherever she was taking him. I swallowed hard. "You said your brother disappeared." The man nodded. "Vanished. No body. No leads. Just gone." I stared at the video again, my hands clammy. Because if this was true, if my wife had been involved, then that meant I had been living with someone capable of making people disappear. And I had no idea who she really was. I don't remember leaving the diner. One moment, I was staring at the screen, at my wife's smiling face as she led a man to his fate. The next, I was back in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers went numb. This was wrong. All of it. I had spent years with this woman. Slept next to her. Loved her. And now I was supposed to believe she was what? A killer? No. This guy had to be lying. He had to be mistaken. Didn't he? Then why was my gut screaming that he wasn't? I had to get home. I had to confront her. The house was dark when I pulled up. No sign of her. But something felt off. A tightness in the air, a wrongness in the silence. I stepped inside. The moment the door shut behind me, I knew I wasn't alone. A faint creak sounded from down the hall. The bedroom. I moved carefully, heart hammering, every instinct telling me to run, but I couldn't. Not until I knew the truth. The bedroom door was slightly open. Just a sliver. Enough to see movement inside. I pushed it open, and there she was, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. She didn't even flinch when I stepped in, just let out a long, slow breath. "You talked to him." Her voice was quiet, flat. My mouth felt like sandpaper. "Ooh." She smiled. A small, tired smile. "Don't do that." My throat tightened. "Is it true?" She didn't answer right away. Just ran a hand through her hair, exhaling like she was relieved. "Sit down," she said. I didn't. She let out a small chuckle. "Right? You don't trust me anymore." I swallowed hard. Should I? Finally, she looked up, and something about her expression, calm, steady, unbothered, sent ice through my veins. "You don't really want the truth," she said. "You think you do, but you don't." I clenched my fists. "Tell me." She studied me for a long time. Then finally she spoke. "I didn't kill him." Relief flooded me, until she added, "But I know what happened to him." The room felt smaller suddenly, the walls pressing in. "Then tell me," I said. She sighed. "Okay." And then she started talking. And what she told me was so much worse than I ever could have imagined. 6 months ago, the night she met him. It wasn't random. She had been looking for him. I had to make sure it was really him, she said. And it was. My pulse pounded. Make sure what? She tilted her head. That he was the right one. Cold fear clawed up my spine. The right one for what? She didn't answer right away. Just watched me, studying, measuring. Then, finally, for the deal. Everything inside me turned to stone. "What deal?" I whispered. She smiled. Not cruel, not kind, just knowing. "You ever wonder why your life has been so easy?" she asked. "How things always work out for you? How you always seem to be in the right place at the right time?" I felt sick. "What the hell are you talking about?" She leaned forward. "It's because someone else paid the price for you." My blood went cold. She sighed like she was explaining something simple. "It's a balance, love. One life for another. That's how it works. And you were chosen." My hands were shaking. "No," I whispered. "That's insane." But deep inside, something broke. Because I had been lucky. More than lucky. The job I got even though I wasn't qualified. The car accident I walked away from without a scratch. The time I should have died, but didn't. And now I knew why. She stood up slowly, stepping toward me. "I never lied to you," she said softly. "I just didn't tell you everything." I stumbled back. My mind raced for an escape, but there was none. "You gave someone up for me," I whispered. She smiled. "I gave up many people for you." The room spun. I had married a monster. She reached out, brushing a hand against my face. I flinched. Her smile didn't waver. "I love you," she murmured. "I always have." Tears burned my eyes. You killed them." She shook her head. "I only did what had to be done." I turned, ran, down the hall, out the door, into the night. But as I gasped for breath in the cold air, one horrible thought rang louder than everything else. How many more had to die for me to be standing here? And worse, what happens when my debt runs out?